You've got a trip planned, or maybe you're just thinking about one, and somewhere underneath the excitement there's this quiet worry. Can I actually do this? Is it safe? What happens if something goes wrong while I'm away from my own doctor, in an airport or in another country? Here's what I see most often. Patients either cancel their plans entirely, deciding travel is now off the table, or they go ahead with no plan at all, hoping for the best. Both of those are not really the best response. The truth is, for the great majority of people with stable heart failure, travel is absolutely possible. What's usually missing isn't permission, it's a system. I'm Dr Jodie-Ann Senior, a cardiologist and heart failure specialist. By the end of this video, you'll know whether you're likely to be cleared to travel, what specifically to prepare before you go, how to manage flights and long journeys safely, and the one thing that I want you to put together before your next trip, even if it's months away. Let's deal with the real question first. Can you travel? For most patients with stable heart failure, meaning your symptoms are reasonably controlled, you're not bouncing in and out of hospital, your medications are settled, and you haven't had a recent hospital admission, the answer is yes. Heart failure itself is not in most cases an automatic barrier to travel, but in most cases matters, and this is where the missing piece usually is. Nobody sits patients down and says, here's how to check whether you're in the group who can travel safely, and here's what you need to prepare if you are. So let's cover both. Before booking anything significant, particularly long-haul flights, travel to remote areas, or travel somewhere with limited access to medical care, it's really worth having a specific conversation with your cardiologist or heart failure specialist. Not a general, is it okay to travel question, but a specific one. Given my current stage, my current symptoms, and my current medications, is there anything about this particular trip I should be cautious about? That's a very different conversation to a vague reassurance, and it will give you something concrete to act on. Now, here's a concept I want you to hold on to because it will shape how you prepare for every trip going forward. You wouldn't dream of traveling overseas without your passport. It's non-negotiable. You check for it, you keep it somewhere safe, you know exactly where it is at all times. I want you to build a heart failure travel folder that gets exactly the same treatment, not a vague mental note to pack your tablets. An actual folder, physical or digital, that goes everywhere your passport goes. Here's exactly what belongs in it. Every medication you take, with the exact doses and the generic names, not just the brand name, because brand names vary significantly between countries and a pharmacist overseas may not recognize what you are used to seeing on your box. At least double the medication you think you'll need for the length of your trip, split across 2 separate bags. If one bag is lost or delayed, you're not left without your heart failure medications in a foreign country. Your cardiologist's name and contact details, along with a brief written summary of your diagnosis, your stage, your ejection fraction, your New York Heart Association class, would be invaluable. If you ever need to see a clinician while you're away, this single page will save enormous time and give them exactly what they need to help you properly. A printed copy of your 4 zones weight and symptom action plan so you or whoever is traveling with you always knows what to watch out for and exactly what to do no matter where you are in the world. Confirmation from your travel insurer that your heart failure is specifically covered. This is critical, and it's the steps that most people skip. A standard travel insurance policy will very often exclude pre-existing cardiac conditions unless you've specifically declared it and had it accepted. Call your insurer, tell them explicitly that you have heart failure, and get that confirmation in writing before you travel. And if you can get hold of it, a copy of your most recent ECG and Echo cardiogram. It costs nothing to carry, And if you ever need urgent assessment while away, having a baseline for comparison is genuinely helpful for any clinician who's treating you. Let's talk specifically about flights, because that's where most of the anxiety sits. For patients with stable heart failure, commercial flights are generally well tolerated. Cabin pressure is regulated to be equivalent to a moderate altitude, and most people manage this without too much difficulty. A few practical things genuinely help on longer flights. Move regularly. Get up and walk the aisle every hour or two if you can, or at a minimum, flex your ankles and calves while seated. This reduces the risk of blood clots, which matters more on the long-haul flights generally, and particularly if you have any degree of reduced mobility. If you suffer any fluid retention or swelling in your feet, ankles, or legs, then it may be important to wear compression stockings, especially for those longer flights or even long ground travel. This will also reduce the risk of getting a DVT. 2 birds, 1 stone. Watch your fluid and salt intake during the flight the same way you would at home. Cabin air is dry, so it's tempting to drink more than usual. That's fine within your usual limit, but airline meals are often very high in sodium, so be selective or bring your own lower sodium snacks where practical. Keep your medications in your carry-on bag, never in checked luggage. Checked bags often get lost or delayed. Your heart failure medication should never be at the mercy of baggage handling. And build in buffer time. Rushing through airports, sprinting for connections, carrying heavy luggage at pace. This is exactly the kind of exertion that can push you towards your moderate or stop zone unexpectedly. Arrive early. Use luggage trolleys and airport assistance where it's offered. There's no medal for arriving at the gate breathless. If you're traveling somewhere with limited medical infrastructure or planning a significant altitude change, some mountain destinations, for example, that's a conversation worth having specifically with your cardiologist beforehand, because those situations do warrant individual assessment. There are situations and conditions where this should not be attempted, but for the great majority of travel, visiting a family, a holiday, a short domestic trip, stable heart failure with proper preparation is simply not the barrier it feels like. Here's the one thing I want you to do, regardless of whether you have a trip booked right now or not. Start today putting together your travel folder. This could be used even for local trips. It's really handy to have. Your medication list with the generic names, your care team's contact details, and a 1-page summary of your condition, a printed copy of your 4 zones plan, confirmation of insurance coverage once you've got a trip in mind. Build it now, before you need it in a hurry 2 days before a flight. Keep it with your passport, treat it with the same seriousness, because travel with heart failure isn't about whether you're allowed to live your life. In almost every case you are, and we want you to. That's the whole point of doing what we do. But it is about having proper preparation and guidance, and a proper system helps you get there, so that when that opportunity comes, you can say yes with confidence instead of saying no out of fear or saying yes and hoping for the best. My free heart failure tracking kit includes the 4 zones action plan ready to print for your travel folder. It's linked in the description below. Subscribe for a new video every week if this is something that's been helpful for you. Share it to anybody who might value it. All designed to give you the clarity that your appointment didn't.